Hey folks, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO, coming back at you again today. I tell you, it really has been a remarkable Monday, and I tell you, it's great. Hey, this is I forgot to do this earlier this afternoon, usually because I just do, but Maple Street Biscuit Company, I want to thank them so much for supporting the podcast, supporting what we do. They are back open at 25%, so who knows, maybe I will do the next one live from Maple Street Biscuit Company, but they are great people. I do want to disclose, just because I'm talking about it doesn't mean they support it. This is all my opinions, my information. I want to dig into something because I was sitting here watching some stuff, reading some stuff on relationships, and I got to thinking, man, what can we do this afternoon? How to divorce-proof your relationships, whether that's personal or business. And I started going through some of the long-term business relationships first that I knew of, and started thinking back to Microsoft with Paul Allen and Bill Gates, at the Amway. You just start going through and you look at Berkshire Hathaways with Munger and Buffett, and I thought, man, how in the world, in a society where it seems like people are just constantly bickering all the time, constantly letting their emotions roll, and if you're in any type of a sales organization, be that real estate, insurance, network marketing, I don't care what it is, trying to divorce proof. I'm just using that word kind of generally right now. How do you do that? And then when you look at the divorce rates, at least in America, and you see them over 50%, and in some demographics and some cultures are even higher than that, you think, how can you do anything? How can you truly commit? How can you decide I'm gonna give it all? And so I'm pondering this, and this isn't about some spiritual awakening or anything like that. I'm just looking at human nature, because, man, we all have that I've been screwed syndrome. We let our emotions run too high. We do all this stuff. So I started thinking, what is it that allows some people, whether it's in business or whether it's in relationships, to make that covenant, hey, we're in this together, thick or thin, hell or high water, we got each other's back. What is it? What's the one ingredient, if you will? What's the one principle? What's the one value? Whatever you want to call it. What causes that to happen when we already know that the majority of people aren't that way? And I thought, man, at the end of the day, when you look at it, and you could, I guess, in a personal relationship, you could call it unconditional love. I think that in a business relationship, you could call it unconditional commitment. But it's a covenant. It's something that today we kind of take for granted. You look at your partnerships, and your partnerships all have these clauses that attorneys put in here. Well, we're good. We're as long as you meet these conditions. In a lot of relationships, we see the prenup agreement. Okay, well, as long as you understand and you agree to all these terms, then I'm ready to commit. And don't get me wrong. If your spouse has died, if you're financially independent, you want stuff to go to your kids. I understand there's certain times when this stuff is needed, but I'm just looking at people in general. And it's like, man, most of us don't think that far through. If you're young and you're getting married, it's the hormones that are cranking this thing out a little bit. You're thinking, man, I don't want him to get away. I don't want her to get away. Depending on your upbringing, you might be saying, look, I can't even make love to him until we're married. So I'm just going to say yes. And literally, I had a friend of mine once that did that. He called me up and he said, look, man, I found the woman, but she won't marry me. She won't even go to bed with me. She won't do anything until I'm a believer and follower in Jesus Christ and we're married. And it's like, dude, that is not a reason to do either one of those things. 6 weeks down the road, they're divorced. No true unconditional love or unconditional commitment, if you will. And I believe when you're out there building relationships, and you're digging deep to build that relationship, whether it's a personal relationship, whether it's a marriage, whether it's business, you know, there's got to be a level of commitment. Military personnel, men or women, doesn't matter, seem to understand a unconditional commitment. When we're in a hot zone and we have trained with our team and our squads day in and day out, you're committed. No one gets left behind. But when we get back into a civilian life, or folks that are just out here hooking up, friends with benefits, oh yeah, I've got this business relationship, and as long as we're making money, it's good, but you know, if it goes south or I get pissed off at them because they make a stupid decision, I'm out. I think it causes us all to lose. I think the business loses. I think the people that work with the business loses. I think in relationships, it's a cop-out. Marriage or business, it doesn't matter. I think that if we're going to go into a commitment, then we truly need to do it without just emotions. Emotions are good. We got to have these emotions. But I think we need to look at this a little bit deeper than that. Because if I look at the vows in a typical marriage, you know, we're going to love each other, we're going to honor each other, we're going to protect each other in sickness and health, richer or poor. And yet the first time somebody stubs their toe, I'm out, I'm gone, I don't need this crap, da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm not, 86% of the divorces that are in America right now are not for some major situation. The other, it's major. And I think if somebody's going through, abuse or like something like that, if you're in a business partnership and somebody's they're embezzling or they're gambling it away, stuff like that, then definitely there's an issue there. But in most cases, we just don't want to make that unconditional commitment that's there. I was watching a little bit on Warren Buffett today, and he was with his heir apparent who will probably take over the company. And here's Buffett saying, I think I made some mistakes in this round of stuff with this, the way we're investing and doing some stuff. And I thought, wow, here's a man that's saying, look, I made some mistakes. But you don't see Munger out there saying, all right, the partnership's over, I'm selling all my stock, I'm out. No, these guys have been in here thick and thin. They've made billions of dollars together. When Paul Allen was going through his cancer stuff and needed to get out of Microsoft, you didn't see Bill Gates saying, screw you, dude. You know what? I'm just taking everything. He didn't do that. He just kept on cranking and kept on cranking and kept on cranking. When you see Steve Jobs doing his thing, his partners were behind the scenes too, but one of them jumped and that was stupid. But the other one just kept on cranking with it. And it's because they had this commitment. It was deeper than just the money they could make. It was about changing the world. And I think every marriage, every partnership, business or otherwise, you guys need to be looking at that and thinking, man, we're in this thing to change the world. And it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Sometimes I guess the familiarity of a partnership or a couple can get to the point where you think you know what they're going to say, or you think you know how they're going to act. And if you don't have that commitment to say, look, we're going to make it no matter what. We said we were in this together. We said we're going to change the world. We said we were going to make this happen. Then that's what you need to do. I've got a couple of pastors I listen to every now and then over at Gateway Church out of Dallas, Robert Morse and Jimmy Evans. And both of these guys at one time or another had worked for each other before the launch of Gateway Church, which is now a mega church. I mean, they hundreds of thousands, I guess, across all these different campuses. But here are these two guys that sat down with their spouses 20 years ago, I guess this year. And around a table as two couples really going into business, going into the ministry together. Two alpha personalities, two senior pastors, if you will, said, look, we're in this together because we got a bigger vision. We got something we know that we're out there to do. And they've been cranking it out for 20 years, and life is good. So as I close down today, I want you to think about this. Have you truly given 100% to your partnership? Whether that's personal, marriage, whether that's business, are you getting pissed off at each other for the stupidest things? Or are you really coming back to the ethos of where you started from, what really got you there, and saying, hey, we're in this together, and we're going to figure this out. If there's an attitude problem, communication problem, maybe they're not problems, maybe they're just challenges. Maybe it's pride, maybe it's ego, but why don't you get off the emotional roller coaster, slow it back down. If it's a marriage and it's the kids or it's the money or it's a stupid virus or whatever, slow that puppy down and go backwards a little bit and say, man, what was it I fell in love with her about? The other day it was funny because the kids were going through some boxes and they found an old picture album of when Paige and I got married. And it's, literally it's a little bitty thing you can carry in your pocket. We don't even know where it came from. But I have cherished that ever since, because what it does is every time I open that up, it reminds me once again why I fell in love with her, why I made the lifelong commitment to her, why I've said this is it, this is why I'm here. I was on the phone with one of my good buddies. He's been a business associate and a business partner for I don't know how long, Mr. Jeff Welch, and we've had these roller coaster rides where we've both been in some crazy situations, and he said, what do you think about everything? And I said, I think I'm with you, man. No matter what you do on this next ride you're on, and he's got some great stuff he's going to be announcing, I said, I'm with you. And we've gone through stuff with our kids and stuff. Richard Brooks, another one like that. Tom Chenault. These are guys that know my personal life. Kevin Thompson, good Lord, man, there's a guy that has been with me in some of the craziest situations, and now we speak together, and it's fun. When you make these commitments, then you can get on the phone. Mel Atwood, I tell you, Mel and I, we're like two brothers from another mother. We get on the phone and we're yelling at each other because I don't understand what he's trying to say, and he's trying to create a comp plan that just doesn't make any sense to me, and we're business partners in some ventures, and it's like we've made that commitment that goes beyond the arguments, beyond the business. We're friends. And I think as I close out, I think that's the key here. I'm not talking about friends with benefits, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you look at the relationships you have with your wife, with your kids, with your business partners. Go back to when it was just a friendship. Go back to when you said, man, I just love being around this person. They inspire me. They cause me to think deeper. They give me butterflies in my belly. Whatever it is. Go back to when you were friends before everything else got involved and mucked it up a little bit. And I bet you all of a sudden you start to realize I did make an unconditional commitment. I said I would be there through thick and thin. I said I wanted to be part of their life forever. I think if we'd all start going backwards and start looking at some of this, we might just find that divorce rates go down, business partnership breakups go down, and that creativity starts to flow again to where you can start really doing some stuff. Because I tell you what, when you get it right at home, it's going to be good in business. If it's good in business, it's usually right at home. And that's what's going to change us as we flow this thing forward. So truly, I think if we want to divorce-proof our relationships, we got to go all the way back to the friendship, all the way back to where we didn't want anything from either person. We didn't want anything except that good, fun creativity. that stuff that really sparks us to be better people. Because I don't know about you, but I like hanging out with people that make me a better person. Yuri Malby, my pastor, is like that. He's like part of my personal board of directors, my mastermind. And when we talk, we just spend hours. It was 3.5 hours this morning. Nothing about church or business or anything. I mean, it all got thrown in there. But it was about two guys saying, man, life is funky. Here he is in his 30s. He's like as old as my oldest kids. So I could be his dad, but yet we're like brothers, man, just doing it. It was kind of cool. So, hey, I'm going to let y'all go, but think about that. If you want to divorce-proof your relationships, get back to that unconditional commitment as friends. See where it goes. Keep me posted. We'll talk to you tomorrow.